So far, so good. Awesome. Right. Okay, I'm making sure it's shared to the group and stuff. So y'all feel free if y'all have any questions before we get started, like feel free. I'm happy to talk while I do this. It just takes me a few minutes to hit all the buttons. Anybody have any wins? Any new clients? Any potentials? Y'all are quiet today.
I've got something I'm um, bothered by.
What's that?
I've got I got approached by a gal earlier this week, and she's concerned that she's getting a 1099 from PayPal for $10,000 that has gone to her through PayPal so far this year. And she just used some words that really bothered me that I don't know that I want to get involved with. And
Okay.
those words were, she's of a mind, she's a hobby. And I said, well, you could be, but you've made $10,000 so far this year through PayPal. And then she came in and said, well, that's all I'm reporting. And I said, what do you mean by that? And she says, well, I don't report any of the other money I make on the side. And I said, well, you have to. I said, there's something called a Pub 17, Publication 17 from the IRS that's kind of like an update Bible everybody uses every year and gives you new changes and everything. But the reason I say that is because the Pub 17, when it is outlining income that has to be reported, Pub 17 says even a drug dealer on the corner of the street needs to report his income. And I said, I would happily share that with you if you don't believe me, if you want to see that. But anyway, she was really turned off. But these keywords are just really eating me. And I'm so desperate to get a client. Part of me wants to say yes, but the other part of me just wants to run away. And I think tomorrow I'm going to have another conversation with her, and I'm going to do a deeper dive into what she means about, or when she said that's all I'm reporting. I think she's going to some local craft shows or
And getting cash or something.
yeah.
It very well could be. There's a lot. I run into a lot of people who, one, it's hard for a lot of people have the mindset of, I want to pay as least amount in taxes as I possibly can,
Of course.
which I mean, I get that, but like, let's figure out what tax deductions you're not taking advantage of because, like, they're like, you can report all your income and still pay less in taxes, because sometimes it's like, okay, well, you have a home office, you have mileage you could have deducted and stuff like that that they're not even thinking of. Um, and then another approach or another thing that I saw, and it was seen a lot, especially when COVID happened and stuff, because a lot of people are going to the banks, they're trying to get loans, they're trying to get this funding. And some of these people were in that mindset of, well, I'm not claiming that as income because I got paid cash and all that stuff. Well, they didn't
Right,
have it as they didn't have the income on the books to prove their business was even making any money because of that. And so I think a lot of people at that point, but it still like made me realize at the same time, because I'm still very new in my business, that a lot of people didn't understand that like you have to put that income on your books in order to be able to show you had income to get the loan, to get the grant, to get all the things. So sometimes
right,
they don't realize how important it is to make sure that you are taking advantage and you are claiming all of the income that's coming in and those types of things, you know?
right.
So it
Yeah,
may be just like, hey, can we explain this to her in a better way? And Sherry, you might have some thoughts on this. I know you're just jumping in and you have no idea what we're even talking about, but this kind of goes with our topic today. Brad wants a client so bad, but this person came to him and was like, hey, I have $10,000 in PayPal. They're going to send me a 1099, but she's making all this other money. She's not claiming any of that. She's only going to claim PayPal because they're sending her a 1099. So Brad's like, should I take the client? Should I not? Like, because it feels like unethical almost sounds like, because she's not claiming all these things. And like, how do you approach that? And I was giving some suggestions that I had, but I don't know if you have any other thoughts.
I mean, we always say no when our gut says no.
Right. Definitely.
So
There's other people out there, better people.
just gotta throw that
Yeah.
out there. But two, is the income actually related? So, like, is she receiving PayPal funds and funds? Like, let's say a house cleaner. I'm going to take cash from these clients, but if you pay me through PayPal, I'm only reporting the PayPal income. If it's a
right,
situation like that, I'm probably not an ideal fit for that client just because it's not a true, like, I'm not doing it. You can, like, legally, that's not your issue other than like you're a tax preparer. So you couldn't prepare her tax return because
yeah,
you know otherwise.
right.
Um, and I would not have her as a client. So because you're a tax preparer, you also kind of work for the IRS. So unfortunately,
Yeah, exactly. As soon as the IRS asked me if I did my due diligence, I would immediately be lying if I said yes, but I didn't report it. And that's a problem. And that's I'm glad you mentioned that because that is another thing that she wants to do is she wants to combine bookkeeping with tax preparation. And she wants a figure for that she can pay me throughout the year so she doesn't have to come up with it all at once.
yeah. So, I mean, you're the service provider. You get to
Yeah,
dictate how you do that. So it's all the income to her business or none of it. And
right.
then that is what it is.
Yeah.
I think, Megan, you said you had some other thoughts. What were your other thoughts?
Yeah, that's what I told him. I was just kind of explaining to him, like, make sure she understands the importance of claiming all the income because, like, if she needed a loan, if she needed a grant, like all these things, and a lot of times people don't realize that, and then make sure she's taking advantage of all the tax deductions.
Yeah, she can always talk to an attorney.
Right.
You know,
And you're right too. She is not taking advantage of deductions because that was one of the things I talked to her about on the intro call was, okay, you've got this money coming in from PayPal, but where did that money go? You had to buy supplies, right? You had to do this, you had to do that. Well, those things are all deductible. And she said, but it's a hobby. I said, well, I'm going to take a deeper dive into that. But I think you're more of a business than a hobby. I mean, most hobbies doing local crafts and selling on Facebook and such, not a lot of them make $10,000 in the first 6 months of the year that I'm aware of anyway.
Yeah, so she could, she could record it on like other income instead of doing a formal Schedule C. There are options there on the tax side, but
Right.
But I think Megan's right. This does really lead into our topic today on just like, because maybe this is a client we should repel, right? Like now you've just talked to us about it. So we're 13 minutes into the call. You've talked to her about it. I don't know how much time you spent on her. You've also spent a lot of time thinking about it between talking to her and getting on today's call. So let's call that at least 3 hours. That's 3 hours of your time you spent on a client that isn't an ideal fit for you. So there are clients that we should repay.
Right.
And maybe this is one of them. But this is a good email marketing story, just for anyone, Melinda. I see you're on email marketing, email marketing. These are good stories to use in our email marketing to show our value and to show what they should be doing as a business owner. Now, when we do that, we might want to give some time between talking to her and sending it out. As far as like, if she's on your email list, like we don't want to like call her out and like get a bunch of hate. Now,
Right.
We don't need her on our email list is also what I'm
Right.
saying. Like it's okay to repel her. But today we're talking about when we unintentionally repel clients we want. So we were just talking, Megan, Tuesday night when I do the co-working call. If you are on that call, I know a couple of you guys are in the call today that were on that call. If you guys were on that call, did you find that call helpful? Where we took a deep dive into organization, and then it was a long call, Megan. Don't slap me on the wrist, but we went really deep into pricing from a profitability and just an ideal client standpoint of like, where do we really want to be pricing for our clients? Like, do we want one client a month at $800, one client a month at $500, or do we need 3 clients at $250 a month? And can our marketing support that? Abel says it was very helpful. So if you guys are interested in those types of calls and getting into that nitty-gritty discussion of like, really, how do I run this bookkeeping firm that I've got? The co-working calls that we offer inside of the Bookkeeping Blueprint are like pure gold. Me and Megan loved calls like that when we were starting. Like, and her and I, Megan, how many hours have you and I spent just discussing our back offices? Like quotes,
A lot.
processes, engagement letters, workflows, all the things. It changes so often.
Yes, Teresa, they're recorded. I cannot tell you where they're at. I think it's Library of Resources.
They're inside a separate module. So like if you open the Bookkeeper Blueprint course, they're not inside the Bookkeeper Blueprint course. They're inside, if you're inside of the Bookkeeper Blueprint Pro or Unlimited, there's another module you get access to that says like co-working calls. And all of them go in the same module. So Megan's mindset call, my call, the call we just had before this meeting, they all go there. Sometimes they get backlogged a little bit, like between uploads.
And I'm going to tell you, mindset call, I am guilty of. We hop in so quick, I forget to record sometimes. So I apologize if they're missing, if some of them are missing. There's some there, but every once in a while.
Yeah, we put a high emphasis on like if it's a planned call. So if we're doing like a specific training, it will 100% be named what the training is and will be uploaded. If it's a chit-chatty call of like Q&A, they still get recorded. They just aren't as fast to be uploaded. Just a reality of like how we upload them. Full disclosure, guys, we don't hide anything. I probably should hide that, but we don't hide anything. So Teresa, they are there though in that module. Anyway, okay, but are we repelling clients that we actually want to be having? And we talked about this a little last week, and just we Jeremiah Bradley. He's in the Bookkeeper Blueprint, and I will ask his forgiveness. I know he's told me I can share this before, but I will. I'm actually meet with him after this call, so I will ask his forgiveness if I need to cut this out. But I know when he started working with us, he wasn't fully inside of the Bookkeeper Blueprint. He had worked with us in a coaching capacity via like private coaching calls. And he also worked with Apex Methods, which is Cameron Montgomery's program on Facebook leads generation. That was a few years ago. Facebook has changed, so it changes all the time. I know last time I talked to him, his process still works on Facebook. So that's still where most of his clients come in. He has a niche. I won't tell you what the niche is, but he has a really targeted niche. He's really an expert in that niche. And the reason the niche has worked so well is because that niche needs a slightly extra service than basic bookkeeping. So he's an expert in that like extra little bit of service that they need. And he could price for it. Well, his pricing when he came to us, he was in all of the Facebook groups. So this is like the number one method. And Megan, I'll get back on the outline. But this
No,
is
you're
like
good.
the number one method that either attracts or repels clients. And I'm not saying when it attracts clients, that's a good thing. And I'm not saying every client you repel is a bad thing. Case in point, Brad Rice's client. So when he came to us, you know, I'm looking at the number of leads he's getting, the number of phone calls, and I'm like, I know so many bookkeepers who would love, like, they would pay good money to have this many leads, and you're getting these leads for free. What's going on? So I started having him fill out our pricing calculator, saving it, and bringing it to the calls. And there I found out he was kind of going with his gut based on whatever he posted, either in a Facebook group or what he had heard or internalized other people say that they're quoting. The result was very inconsistent quoting, and he was losing more clients than he was getting them. As soon as he started implementing the quoting calculator, that's the only change he made, guys. I mean, we might have made some other changes with like his sales process or things like that, but the primary change, like the most impactful change, was he would fill out the scope and pricing calculator and quote consistently. And then he was able to adjust it to like his industry as far as this gets me yeses, this gets me nos, I'm going to quote like this. Once he got that, he hit 6 figures within 5 months of making that change. And he was doing less than, I think he was doing like 3,000 a month when we started talking, or less. Like he was at the very beginning of like, hey, I bought into another program. It's on a credit card. I can't go to my wife and tell her I did this. So anyway, that's his story. And I think his story is also on our website a little bit too. But he's not the only one in that boat of, okay, well, maybe I'll price $97 a month. Maybe I'll try to price $500 a month. And I know I've worked with another individual in our unlimited one-to-one program. She has struggled to be consistent in pricing. And for her, it's different. For her, it's coming from a mindset of she wants to be on the higher side. She knows that she wants to quote higher, but she hasn't fully internalized the value that she's giving them at that higher price point. So she's trying to jump to pricing higher without having the full mindset to support it. And so then she's coming to me, well, should I discount? Should I do this? Should I whatever? And she's not fully capturing what the client actually needs, like as a whole package. So if we're invoicing, if we're, she's not breaking out the bank account, she's just saying, please say yes to $500. Please. That's not a good way to do that. Okay. some of you guys are saying, please, 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 please say yes to a $97 a month client. We need to get you more leads. Okay, so one way we repel clients in that, so I just kind of referred to pricing. I referred to not knowing our value. I referred to having our own internal issues with what we want versus what we're giving them. All of those things. Okay, so I'm going to pause there and I'll get back on our outline. And some of you guys, it's not pricing per se. It's just that you don't have leads. So you're not even getting to the pricing point. How many of you guys are in that boat? Like it doesn't matter what you price. You've got no leads. Therefore, it doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but I lost my chat if any of you guys answered.
Brad said me. We had a couple of me's.
A couple of me's. That's a real thing, guys. And I won't scare you guys away with how many people you should be talking to right now for all of that. But I've been like, sometimes you get like, as you're trying to grow the business, as you're trying to figure out marketing, you're like, I've made one quote this entire quarter. Do I want this? Do I not? Like, I'm feeling pretty discouraged. So some of that's how you're showing up in your marketing. You're hiding behind Facebook. You're making posts. You're showing up on YouTube. You're showing up, but you're not like, Megan, you're going to have to help me with the words probably, but you're not like adding value or adding. It would be like me sitting in this room, talking to the wall, saying how much value I add and how well I believe in myself, and pretty much just being a self-absorbed bookkeeper behind my computer, talking to no one, yet expecting someone to sign. Very harsh way to say that. Okay, so with that, we're leading with fear instead of guidance. We get someone on the call and we're now so scared. So some of you guys, when you're starting out, you're so scared of like, I don't know myself what it means to reconcile yet. I don't really know myself what it means to review financials. And you've gone through the course, so you kind of know, but you're like, I haven't done it for a client. And this is where we tell you the best solution to fear is doing the work. You have your own business that you can be doing the work for. You have your household bookkeeping that you can be doing the books for. You have your own credit card, savings account, money market account, mortgage, rent, bank account, whatever you have going on, that you can be putting into QuickBooks. You can do like a $10 a month ledger subscription. Now that we have that option, you could do a simple start subscription depending on how you're set up, what you have access to, and just do it every month for yourself. Categorize the transactions, set up the chart of accounts, start to analyze the financials for yourself. And that's going to help you overcome that fear. Okay. So one of the ways this comes up is you get a client on a call and they're like, I don't know what I need. How many of you have had a call all day long? They're just like, I was told I need something. So, you might say something like, it looks like you have a couple of businesses that actually need to be separated. We can't put them in the same QBO subscription. So you could say something like, hey, you're going to need a few QBO subscriptions to keep things clean and accurate. I'm going to help you set those up. So you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to do it the most cost-effective way possible. I've got a couple of options with my firm that QuickBooks gives me as far as discounts go. I'll handle that setup and I'm going to waive the setup cost. and we're only going to do what makes sense for you right now. We're not going to work like you just told me you want to start like 3 other businesses in the next 5 years. Right now, let's go ahead and get you set up. Let's get it cleaned up. That way you can start focusing on what the cash flow that you need to do that goal over here. We're not going to sit there and be like, I don't know if we can do it that way. Like backtracking. We're just going to tell them, this is what I know you need, and this is why. Sometimes you don't want to get into the details, because that brings us to point number 2. We could start to overload clients with jargon. And I do this because I have an accounting background, so I do this unintentionally. But I can start talking to them about the whole process. So yesterday I had a client come to me. Or a potential client come to me, and he was talking to me about paying his child and all of those things. Well, by the end of the conversation, as I'm talking to him about it, oh, she's 20. Should have asked that at the beginning. Like, it would have saved like so much of the conversation. So much of it does still apply. Like, we're keeping it in the family. If he wants to send her money, we can make it a business expense versus like a gift, right? There are other ways to like structure that. We can start talking about chart of account structure. So if you've ever been on a discovery call that you're like, I thought this should take 15 minutes or 30 minutes. Now we're 2 hours in, you are overloading them with the process and the jargon. You are giving them a very free strategy call. We don't do that. You don't
And
need to do that.
I'll throw in, Sherry, just talking about like the jargon piece of it. I have had, because I do not have an accounting background, especially in the beginning of my business, there was a lot of the terminology that I did not know and stuff like that. So a lot of times when I talk to clients, it's not the accounting terms, it's not assets, liabilities, that stuff. But I've had several who signed with me because they made the comment like, you're not talking over my head. I understand what you're saying. So it's made a big difference, I feel like, by making sure that you're being relatable.
And that's really where, if you don't have bookkeeping experience, doing your personal books and your own business books in QuickBooks, even if there's like 5 transactions a month, is going to help you so much, because you're going to know enough to take care of them. And me and Megan talk to bookkeepers all the time that are learning. They don't have this as a background. And their number one fear is that they're going to be like found out by the client about what they don't know. And so we'll hear the word imposter syndrome or things like that. And if you have not listened to that wonderful podcast we did with Jennifer Allwood on imposter syndrome, like go listen.
Go listen. Yeah.
Just as soon as we get off, just pull that up. Like, it will likely change how you're talking to yourself or talking to us. You're probably going to stop using the word imposter syndrome, because you're not intending to lie to them. You're intending to serve them. And you're honest about learning. Like, you're honest to us about learning. You're going to get the information. You're going to go back to them with truth. You're going to be on the call. You're going to collect the information to answer. Like, they're going to ask you a question. You're going to be like, I don't know. But you're not going to tell them. You might not tell them, I don't know. You're going to be like, let me get some more information from you. And you're just going to ask a bunch of questions about making sure you understand what they're trying to do. If you know what they're trying to do, you can come to us and say, my client just asked this. I have no clue how to execute, but here's their goal. So here's the problem. Here's their goal. I just don't know how to solve it yet. That is what we can help you with. So you're not lying. You're just, I'm going to go do a little bit of research. Your research just might involve getting on a one-to-one versus Google search, which sometimes gives you like 10 different answers. And you're going to be like, I don't know enough to sort through these Google searches. Like, the worst answer you can give a fellow bookkeeper who's trying to learn is, have you Googled it? Have you put it into ChatGPT? Like, I love ChatGPT. I love Google for research. If you don't know what you're looking for, you don't know that you found the right answer.
Correct. There's so many times you see that, and look, okay, I'll even in other groups, you'll ask a question or whether it's ChatGPT or whatever, and the answer looks right. But if you don't know, so you have to know and you have to have some knowledge behind it, for sure.
Yep. Okay, and then the third is quoting without context. So I kind of led with this one. We jumped in. We can start to say, the client's on the call saying, oh, I don't have that much. We have a Chase account. We have a money market account. But, we're really tiny. It takes me an hour a month to do. I'm tired of doing it. I would rather someone else do it every month so it stays up. And, it's nothing. It's no big deal. So we quote them $500, $300, whatever our minimum is, thinking, oh, no big deal. Great. Okay. I just so excited for the client that the first person I've talked to in like 3 months. I just want the win. $300. Yes, please. Then you get in and you're like, oh, you have sales tax tracking that I actually have to track versus like QuickBooks isn't set up to do that for you because of how you're doing sales. Now they're asking you for quarterly calls, and Megan, I might not be like completely following the notes here, but like all of a sudden we just quoted out of like a desperate need to get the client, but we didn't have the context to get the client, like to actually price it correctly. So for those of you that were on that Tuesday night call, that's what we discussed. Like very much how to get the context of, because I've been told I overprice a lot. You would have a hard time convincing me based on my P&L that I overprice. Like as far as value that I'm giving the clients, the longevity that the clients stay with me, and what the industry standard is for profitability. You would have a hard time convincing me on paper that I overprice. I still have some that are underpriced because they're like $250 a month, and we do a lot of work for them because I didn't realize all of the context to their bookkeeping, or they grew and resisted like price increases, and I just haven't let them go. Sometimes we want to let clients go. I've let clients go. I will likely more quickly let you go because of rudeness than I will because of scope creep. So it's just part of my own reality. Okay. Making it all about you. So this applies to when you get on a call with a client and you're talking about your certifications, why you're better than other bookkeepers, how much experience you have, what you know about Stripe and what other bookkeepers get wrong. All of that has a place, but you could simply position yourself as the expert by saying something like, after working with business owners like yours, same exact, very similar. I found that most people at the end of the day really just want clarity, confidence behind their numbers. That's what I do. That's what I'm good at. I'm going to help you organize this because you've told me this and this. With those two things, like I'm going to set it up. I'll show you. I'll talk to you about it. I won't get into the jargon about it today. But that will help you and be you focused on them, right? So when I say you focus, like you're focused on the client, not yourself. They only care about what you can do for them. And I could have 5 of you be commenting right now saying, but they've asked me for a background check. They've asked me for references. They've asked me how many years I have been in this industry. They've asked me how many clients I have. They've asked me how many clients I have in a specific niche. And the list goes on. At the end of the day, they still don't care. On the vast, your clients don't care at the end of the day. I have a couple of clients that them knowing my background helps them a little bit. But if I was just simply good at what I did, which I am, simply good at what I do. Like, they would have hired me just based on that, if that makes sense. I have had maybe 2 clients really hire me because of my qualifications. However, qualifications only get you so far if you can't do the work. I can't tell you how many CPAs or EAs I either get on a coaching call with because they have a question, or I'm reviewing their work and you're like, now there's a difference between like, they've had a staff doing the work, it didn't get done correctly. You can see through that. Okay, when you're reviewing a set of books, you can see like, okay, yeah, the CPA was over it. It was the CPA from doing it. Yeah, they were working with quote unquote Sarah the bookkeeper. But really Ashley Sarah the CPA was, who they were engaged with. But Ashley, the staff accountant, was doing the bookkeeping. And Ashley got behind and she didn't really understand how the POS system was working, or she tried to do this thing, it broke, it didn't really work, and she didn't know how to clean it up, and the CPA was too busy to really support Ashley to get the books done. So now we're going to take it on. We're smaller, we have that bandwidth to do it. You can see through that. Okay, so experience might not always equal like them doing it, but really what I was trying to get to was, I talk with CPAs and EAs all the time. Megan has been on some of those calls and I'm like asking questions and Megan's like, I know the answer to that. What? And Megan should, like, she's been doing your 6 years, 5 years?
6 years, yeah.
6 years in? Like, she should know, like, it's what, 10,000 hours to like be an expert in something. It's like 10 years, but like 5 years, you can really learn a lot of stuff. And Megan has, I've looked at her work quite a bit over the years just to like review something or to answer a question that one of her clients has or something, and vice versa. Like, you can see through certifications and years of experience. Some people, their brain, they thrive, their personalities thrive on racking up certifications. So for me, certifications mean nothing. So some of you guys, and be honest in the comments real quick, some of you guys are so hung up on the Pro Advisor certification that you're not getting your clients. Just gonna let that sit in for a second. The Pro Advisor certification only tells your clients that you understand how QuickBooks supposedly works. Okay. It does not tell your clients that you can do their bookkeeping. Some of you guys are repelling clients because you're not getting in front of them. And one of the reasons you're not getting in front of them is you're overcomplicating the setup for yourself and or as you're talking to them on a potential call. And you're going to tell them like, well, I need these things. You're going to have to give me accountant access and I need all of this stuff before I can even give you a quote. And which some of that's true. However, they might not care why they need a separate set of books or a third-party app, or that this can be connected, or that we never do this, or why they should be accrual versus cash, or like you're just bombarding them. We kind of talked about this with jargon, but it can quickly lead into the person who's like so scared of being found out that they're not a bookkeeper. They over-explain their setup process. They over-explain in the discovery call, like potential client call process, all of these things that actually makes the client go, this is going to be too hard. I can't do this with you. An example, I shared this last week, Megan, with one of my clients who came to me. It was a new client I've worked with previously, finally signed for like ongoing last week. he went to a tax preparer and she basically said, well, just send me everything. And his brain needed more help than that. So like he felt like it was complicated because he couldn't figure out what does that mean. Does that make sense? Like, oh, like it felt complicated to him because he's like, no, I need you to handhold me. Like, I don't understand what you need. Like, I don't know how to get you this information. And so it felt complicated to him. She didn't uncomplicate it. She just said, send me everything, thinking she was uncomplicating the process. And it actually turned out that she was really complicating the process for him because he didn't know what that meant and like became really scared that he wasn't going to give her everything. Now we know she would have asked questions and gotten everything. It just felt overwhelming. The same is true if you give them, I'm going to need your entire life's everything and 3 years of tax returns and all your 1099s and just let them know the overall process. If they have questions, answer those questions, address those questions. We don't need to overcomplicate it on their behalf. Some of you guys are overcomplicating it because of imposter syndrome from the standpoint of we have to prove what we know what we're doing. You don't. Okay, so with that, like some of you guys just went into like paralysis. You're like, I've done that, I've done this, I've done whatever. Megan always says you can't say the wrong thing to the right client. Just at the end of the day, they're going to like you. You've put it, if you're marketing well, you've put out enough value that they most times, like unless you're doing like super cold outreach, like cold calling, cold DMing, most of the time, like we've built an audience where there's some know, like, and trust that's been built. And so they're calling you up because I don't know anyone that does it as well as you or talks about it as well as you. And so it's not what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. And so we just want to like pause and say, are we serving the client? Did I just talk too much like I do on these podcasts? Did I scare them off in some other way? And so with Jeremiah, when we were working on his pricing, we had spent a lot of time like analyzing what was said in the call. And this is really good. If you guys can record your Zoom calls, if you're doing Zoom or Google Meet or a phone call, if you're in a state that allows you to like review it for quality assurance process, purposes, do that. As much as it stinks, listen to it. If you really can't listen to your voice, just transcribe it. Like let it be transcribed, download it, read through it. You can copy and paste it now and put it into ChatGPT, which we did not have, Megan, when we were learning how to do this. Like,
yeah, ChatGPT makes it so much easier.
That would have been amazing. Put it into ChatGPT and say, analyze this. How did I do on this call? What could I like? Did I understand what the client was wanting? Critique me. Do not put it into ChatGPT and pretty much ask it to like build you up. Have it critique you. Tell it that you want to be critiqued. Other than that, it's going to be like, you did a great job. I hope you get the client. Okay, that doesn't help you. And no one else reads it but you and some coding bot behind the scenes. Okay, so who here has like a quote that you can go back and look at within like the last, I'm going to say 60 days? You quoted someone, you can go look at it. If you have one, go back and look at the call, the notes. Did you offer options? Did they need options? Did you lead that call with calm or did you jump into their chaos? Because if you jumped into their chaos, sometimes that means you're going to get a really chaotic client. Sometimes if you lead with calm, they're going to be like, oh, you don't care enough. So you have to pay attention, but calm is often going to give you more respect then jumping into their chaos and then getting the chaos. Guys, I'm behind on the chat, sorry. And then did you communicate the value or just the cost? So I told you guys a few months ago, I had another client who came to me and she was like, well, why is it so expensive? And she was getting a very low quote from me. And I had to ask her about like the problem solution, because she was like, well, I know you're smaller and like that's what I want, because I want the high touch type service. So some of you guys call it like a white glove service on your website. But I had to communicate the value of, well, you told me your problem is this. You're having trouble with this insight on your financials. I can solve that. And then like that gave her a lot of reassurance of like, oh, okay, it's not just categorizing income expenses. It's really giving her financials that she can understand so that she can get the information to run her business quickly. Oh, you guys are talking about cold DMing.
Yeah. So Cameron asked if I ever told DM and how long did it take for people to start reaching out. So Cameron, I was posting 5 to 10 times a day, not 3 times a day. And I was making sure that I was commenting on their post. I was going in groups commenting and stuff like that. I was also going to in-person networking, getting to know people like that, adding them as friends on Facebook and stuff. I mean, it literally 2 weeks after I started posting, I signed my first clients. So it didn't take long, but when I say 5 to 10 times a day, I was 5 to 10 times a day. And I was constantly adding new people. I was commenting on posts. I was doing like all of those things. So I was constantly trying to talk to people, even though it wasn't in DMs. I was finding posts where people were saying, hey, I need a bookkeeper, or maybe it was a marketing post, or how do you set up your LLC and they're in Louisiana, or something along those lines. Where can I provide value to business owners? And that's kind of how I approached it.
Yep. I tried cold DMing. I tried cold calling. I did not wake up excited to do either of those.
You definitely have to want to do it. Or you're not going to show up and do it.
What I found myself like, because it was sometime in COVID was impacting like how people were showing up to like calls and stuff. And so like people were really new to webinars. And so everyone was like getting on all the webinars. And so everyone was trying to get you on a call. And I wound up getting on so many calls that were like, hey, I'm interested in your bookkeeping services. And reality, they were an insurance agent or something trying to sell me like marketing or insurance or something else. So it was like the wild, wild west of getting people on calls, which I think is why a lot of people are burned out on the word discovery, because discovery is, yeah. Oh, sorry, I wasn't trying to interrupt that conversation.
No, you're good. Cameron said, for anybody listening, Cameron said thanks, I'm not doing enough and I'm overwhelmed. I like always kind of set a schedule. So because I was working full time and I know you're still working, so it'd be like first thing in the morning, if I had a break, lunchtime, and when I got home, like those were definitely the times that I did it. But I also tried like, hey, anytime I had a break. So like we usually had like a break where we didn't have patients coming in. Okay, what is something? And I was not necessarily posting like, hey, do you need a bookkeeper? It was like, hey, here is a meme and it's a mindset quote. And it was going to be a post like that, but it had my business name on it somewhere or something like that. But I would try to like set a schedule for what is that going to look like for you. I mean, I would say even 3 times a day, at least you're being consistent and you're doing it 3 times a day every day. I also like would try to make it like a game almost, like set some goals for yourself. Like today, I'm spending 30 minutes on Facebook. I'm sending 10 friends requests out. I'm going to find 5 posts to comment on and interact with, and like do stuff like that, and like make it a checklist. Like this is what I need to do. the more you start doing that, you're going to start to see people reaching out and interacting and all the things. You're also gonna like make it okay, if you reach all these goals this week, reward yourself in some kind of way. Like make it a game. Facebook made it easier for me when they started like I turned my Facebook page to professional mode, and in professional mode they give you like all these, let's see, when you go to your professional dashboard, of course it's not going to come up. Oh, they call it a weekly challenge. So when you go to the weekly challenge, it'll say get 50 new followers, get 50 interactions on your post, post 15 public posts, get 1,000 views on your content, post 7 stories. So like it tells you like, hey, these are the things we want to see, and then like it'll check it off as you, oh, it went away, as it completes it. So like it makes it easy and it makes it a game. And then it like, for me, now that I've done it so much, they're paying me to do it. So like the more I reach these goals and stuff, the more income I get from them from it. And y'all, I'm not making a lot, like $20 at the most of them, but it makes it fun and it's something to do. And you know, like I'm posting on Facebook, so I might as well get paid for it, kind of thing. So sorry, that's sidetracked, I guess, a little bit, Cherry.
No, you're good. Cause like, I mean, marketing, putting ourselves out there, getting in front of audiences, building our own audience is how we start getting leads, and even to the point where any of this matters, right? So like,
Right.
you know, Cameron, his thing said, I'm not just doing enough. I'm just not doing enough, and I'm overwhelmed. I know at one point I was like, I really need to grow this thing. I had gotten stuck again, and I had just like, I think the year before, like 4x my revenue. I went from 30,000 to like 120. And I, you know, I plateaued again. I was like, I don't want to use Upwork anymore. All of these things. Upwork did something similar where it was kind of gamified for me. I had other incentives than just getting clients revenue. And from there, like I remember sitting down at one point thinking, okay, what could I do if I just need, like, I need to change this fast. And I wrote down, like, because you could do it all. You can post on Dig and Reddit and Quora and Facebook and LinkedIn and Alignable, and you can add 100 friends a day to each of those over time. Don't try to go add 100 friends today if you're normally adding like 2. You will get your accounts flagged. You can build up to a lot more than 20 a day, but if you're not doing even 20 a day, but then you have to know, you take a step back and say, what are those 20 that I need to be adding? Because some of you guys are just saying, add his friend, add his friend, add his friend, add his friend, because you're in a group with them. Are they your client? Yeah, so Cameron, you have to pay attention to how many connections you also have. So as you start building up from, 10 to 15 to 20, 25, 30, 50, etc. on up, you should start having 80 to 100 connections in common with that person that you're adding as friends. So if all 50 of them have like 5 people in common, Facebook is going to start dinging you. And then are they really your ideal audience? And that might be, I don't know, I would pay attention to it. We don't want to ruin our Facebook algorithm too much. Cool. Now, I did get a client. Some of my clients kind of come from Facebook now, but they don't. They come from a network. Sometimes I'm interacting with them on Facebook. Sometimes they're just reaching out because my name came up, or I'm the person that they know, or because they physically see my name every week in a specific like printable thing that they're receiving. Just where can you be? Like, where are your people? I want you to be where your people are. So I want you writing the articles that they're seeing. I want you guest appearing on their podcast. So Bigger Pockets, Cameron, we talked about. I'm not saying you have to go guest on Bigger Pockets, because I think Bigger Pockets was promoting Bench for a while. If I remember correctly, they were doing like a sponsorship with Bench, because Bench, that's what they did to grow. But there's other real estate podcasts all over YouTube. Can we pay to sponsor them? So we don't even have to show up. We're just going to give them like an ad script and sponsor them to get in front of their audience. And that might be anywhere from $20 to $150 to maybe $800 to a lot more, depending on who we're trying to. Is it the local real estate podcast network group, or is it like Ben Shapiro? I don't know how much it costs to sponsor Ben Shapiro. If someone knows, let me know. Daily Wire or whatever, those things. Okay, so that's an option. But like, where else are they? Are they at trade shows? Are they going to Home Depot every weekend? Where are they? And can I partner with some sort of event, trade show, networking group that they're in, something like that? Cameron, I almost imagine if you went and visited every business, so BNI group or networking group, there's AM Spirit, there's a lot of like formal ones, and then there's a lot of informal ones. I know someone in our Unlimited group, Megan, she's now just expanding the number of networking groups that she attends. Like, that's her full-time job, to grow her bookkeeping business. Which actually I was kind of proud of her for doing. Just throwing that out there, like, because that's where her clients are coming. But she's like, some of you guys are like, well, I'm in networking groups, and you're in the same 3 every month. And that's not doing you any good. Or you're just in BNI and you're not visiting every chapter. So Cameron, like, that might be something you test out. That might have to be after work, on lunches, before work, might have to be online. Alignable, I was able to find a lot of online virtual networking groups. That did get me some help. I don't know that I got a client from Alignable per se through any of that. But okay, anyway, just a thought of like networking groups. Okay, Melinda, how would you sponsor YouTube channels? How would you handle that? So a lot of YouTube channels have, like, if you go into their contact, and I've got a one-to-one after this, Megan. So I think this is the last question. So then if you want to comment anything, you can message their like contact information with, you can go into ChatGPT. Hey, I want to consider sponsoring this. Give me like I think I have a template. I don't know how easy it is to find and send you, but like what you're looking for is some sort of like pitch to send them of like, hey, this is where we overlap. If you could take it a step further and identify like your top 100 YouTube channels that you want to sponsor, or top 10 or whatever, be commenting on all of their stuff. Make friends with them in the comment section or in their post feed, because remember, YouTube is social media. So get your face known. Once they've recognized you and kind of they're interacting with you, then email them. You can do it either way, but I would do it, and then, but you're going to be all over their comment section, like building, like you're going to be friends with them via the comment section. It really depends on, like, so this is podcast too, but I'm directing them to a landing page. So go watch some of your YouTubers like Minimal Mom, Bigger Pockets, Dave Ramsey. when they shout out a sponsor, what is that sponsor doing? Oftentimes it's use my code for 27 off. Megan, we do this with Tara Wall, with her Consider the Fields t-shirt club, right?
She'll be next week, by the way.
Just opportunity, Tara, if you're listening. She's going to be on our podcast soon, maybe. Hopefully.
Next week. That's what I'm saying.
Week.
She'll be on next week. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. So, A, you're going to make friends with people. Then who are you friends with that have a podcast? That's going to be the easiest way to get in. If they already have a podcast or YouTube, start with them, test it out. But you're directing them to like a landing page. So like your bookkeeping business / Consider the Fields, Bookkeeper Blueprint, like / whatever the business name is, like the podcast name. So it's going to be like / podcast name, YouTube name, and they're going to put that link, and that's where you're going to direct them to a freebie, a download, or whatever. I would make it like a copy of your homepage, and like make a special offer to them. So like add a section to that group of people, and make a separate pop-up that would have them enroll for your giveaway. So that's what I would do. But it could be, I've done half off your first month. I've done 20% off. I've also done, like we waived the onboarding fee or something like that. So like you can think through, like in your, go listen to a lot of other like sponsorships, and you'll get some ideas on what feels good for you, because you don't want to undervalue your service either. So, okay. Cool.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all. We appreciate it. And yeah, next week Tara will be on. So yeah. Let us know if y'all have any questions. Feel free to post in the group, message us. And we'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.